9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Realist Talking Sports in the Paint Media Group is here. Thanks for joining us on YouTube, the StreamYard. Thanks for joining us again. Listen, it's all about basketball tonight. That's about it. Playoffs in the bubble. Coach got fired. We're going to talk about that first. But before we proceed on, let's introduce ourselves. My name is Rodney Jones. I'm your host / moderator. Also joining me is a man that created the show, Mr. Mark A. Cunningham, also known on here as Max611. How you feeling, bro?
I'm good. How you doing? You can hear me clearly, right?
I can hear you clearly. I'm just trying to get my head straight, so to speak. And also joining me is my man Chandler. What's up, Chandler? How you feeling? Chandler?
What's up, everybody? How y'all doing?
All right, there we go. And also joining us.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Gonna bring this brother in the room, my man Dominic. What's going on, Dominic? Thanks for joining.
America.
That's right. Captain America. You already know.
Put my cigarette out. Hold on.
All good. Thanks, guys, for joining us tonight. And first thing we're gonna get into is certain coach got fired, Brett Brown, formerly of the Philadelphia 76ers. He wound up getting canned, deservedly so. Max611, I know you've been very vocal about that, especially today, and probably previously, and you guys might feel the same way. What's your take?
He had to go. Career record 221 wins, 344 losses with a 39% winning percentage, and 12-14 with a 46% winning percentage in the playoffs. The last 3 years he had winning seasons with Philly, but they look very disjointed.
Right.
And it just seemed like he didn't have a plan, doesn't have a plan, doesn't adjust. And you see the results. Joel Embiid averaged 30 points and 12 rebounds. The worst 30 points and 12 rebounds I've ever seen in my life.
Well, the guy, he's lazy. But go ahead, Mac.
Right. And more importantly, Elton Brand needs to go as well, the GM, because he put this roster together. It's very mismatched. They lack shooting, and that's the result. And Boston just was better, way better.
For sure, we see that. You know what I mean? I mean, the whole trust process. I mean, I guess that didn't exactly work out. Especially in regards with my man Brett Brown. So it's a done deal. And I do agree that Elton Brand should go. You know what I'm saying? My man Chandler, what do you think about this whole situation?
Well, I mean, you know what? A lot of his record came when Sam Hinkie was doing the whole tank for forever piece. So his record, I'm not really going to hold against him. The past few years, I'm going to hold against him. The fact that he refused to actually coach these players, I'm going to hold against him. Now, if you and I listen, I put a lot of this on Philadelphia's management, Elton Brand, whoever was there before him, because they created an atmosphere in which these players felt they could get away with murder, and they did. You got Joel Embiid coming in every day with a Philly cheesesteak in one hand and Joel Rice in the other. You got Ben Simmons saying, "I ain't gonna shoot. I don't care what you do." You know what I'm saying? So I'm putting a lot of that on management. But Brett Brown, you're the head coach. At a certain point, you got to be willing to stand up and say, "Listen, I'm going to coach this team, or y'all gonna fire me. Take your pick." We bag a lot on Derek Fisher and his time with the Knicks and basically what he's done in the NBA since he stopped being a player. But the one thing I will give him is that the reason Phil Jackson fired him was because he told Phil Jackson, "Listen, if I'm gonna coach the damn team, I'm gonna coach the team my way. You don't like it, fire me." So Phil fired him. But I do respect the fact that he was willing to say, "Listen, you hired me to do a job. Either let me do my job or find somebody else." Brett Brown had enough cachet in that organization to do that, and he chose not to. You know what I'm saying? He chose to take the easy route. Al Horford is like the Sphinx. He never says anything. When Al Horford is talking about you publicly, that's bad. I mean, honestly, Al Horford been only, 10, 12, 13 years? Tell me any time before the season you ever heard Al Horford say anything other than, "Well, we played hard. the other team played hard, and we just got to get better. Outside of that, did anybody even know what Al Horford's voice sounded like before this year? You know what I'm saying? You got this dude talking about you, man. So, yeah, he had to go, but it was a collaborative effort in the down.
Well, let's go to my man Dom for a second, see some of his thoughts.
Well, one, we knew it was coming. So now we go from trust the process to trust the process, take two. And let's be honest, guys, if y'all follow this fuckery, as Mark would say, their signing of Al Horford was to steal him from Boston. How did that work out? Again, I'm not going to go back to the 100 picks throughout the tank sensation, and you have two of them left. So to me, the coach is always going to be the scapegoat, guys. We beat this horse to death for what, 4 or 5 shows?
Right.
They didn't have a good plan from the top to the bottom. Again, look at how much they signed Al Horford for. It was almost like playing cards. We're going to offer this much, and guess what? If a team moving in the direction Boston was moving, and they told Al, and you jump on them, what does that say about your organization?
Yep.
Let's just be a little honest, guys. Like I always say, we're all grown men on this line. The team he was on said, and you jumped on him. For what?
Right.
What? And he's making what, $27, $28 million a year for the next 3-4 years. Now, how do you get rid of him? You can't.
Right.
Now you got him, Simmons, Embiid, and what's his name? Harris.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
All making
Tobias
$20+
Harris.
million. That's $100 and something million with 4 guys.
Right.
And then people say, why didn't they keep Redick? Why didn't they keep Butler? I think Butler was a done deal. He wasn't staying.
He wanted to leave.
Right. He was done. He wanted his own little whatever, pie in the sky. And you failed miserably. This franchise, and I said this before, this franchise is probably one baby step ahead of the Knicks. Think about that for a minute. Through all that we went through with the Knicks, they're only baby steps ahead of us as we speak. That's pathetic, guys. That is pathetic. And you sold your fans on this for how many years, guys? 6 years? 6 years of tanking?
7.
Chandler's right. You can't take Brett Brown's record and put it in a nutshell. Because he was a part of the fuckery, the tanking. Hey, Mark, accept this. We're going to get better. We're going to move on. And like I said, 1, 2, 3, 4 draft picks later, they're gone. You're still here, and you sign Horford for $27 million a year.
And you signed Tobias Harris, and you gotta pay Josh Richardson soon.
They ain't gonna pay him. They can't.
Well,
they can't. He'll be somewhere else.
I've read that JJ Redick said he spoke to management, and he said it seemed like they were like, man, I don't know, go do what you gotta do. So he left, and I'm not mad at him for that.
And let's be honest, guys, it ain't like JJ Redick signed a $20 million contract.
Right.
You let him go for pennies on the dollar, but overpaid for Al Horford.
And Tobias Harris.
Yeah. Tobias Harris, no shade if he's listening, has never been that guy. Let's just be honest. He's a good glue guy. He's a good role player. But he's never been that guy. Good luck.
That's true.
Good luck.
That's true.
Yeah, they'll be the 8th seed. We'll be the 7th seed next year.
Right.
Just saying. Just saying.
Right. Now,
you know what the comparable would be Dallas. You look what Dallas did.
Ooh.
And yeah, I get that Luka is still young, but if you look at what they did as far as going out and getting some veteran players, but not overpaying for veteran players, getting the foundational pieces, but again, not overpaying for them.
Right.
That's what Philly was supposed to do. You know what? They went and got Nerlens Noel. They went and got guys like that. They went and they traded for what? Willie Cauley-Stein. I know he's hurt now, but they went and got a Willie Cauley-Stein that kind of, and between those two guys, kind of fill that Al Horford role instead of going and overpaying for an Al Horford. It's just this is from top to bottom just a failure in Philly. It is. It's just top to bottom a failure.
Yeah.
I mean, I know we're gonna. I hope we get on the Mavericks later. But if you look at every move they made, even getting rid of Noel, who the Sixers couldn't stand, what did the Sixers get back for him?
Right.
What did Dallas get back for him?
Right.
Okay.
Let me interrupt for a brief second. I gotta bring two people in.
Oh,
my man Dwayne, welcome to the stream. Thank you for joining us tonight, brother. How you doing?
Hey, how you doing?
All right. And you might want to turn your volume up. You might want to turn your volume up a little bit, D. I can't hear you. Okay.
All right.
And also joining us is the man known as the Bishop. You know what I'm saying? My man James. What's going on, brother?
What's going on? What's going on, fellas?
Same old. You know, we talking the NBA in the bubble, basketball.
What's up, James?
Oh yeah, what's going on, Mac? What's going on?
You sounded like you didn't. You sounded like you
Can't trust the process no more.
You know what I'm saying?
I might know a little bit about what y'all talking about. I might know
Just a little something. I'm glad that you joined us, and I'm also glad Brother Tom is here. This is going to be a funny dynamic that's going to be going on tonight. You know what I'm saying? Listen, we was talking about the 76ers, guys. You know, and how Brett Brown got fired finally. I was looking over in some periodicals and checking out the possible replacements for Brett Brown in Philly. And there's quite a few interesting names out there. One I found hard to believe. They actually put Mark Jackson out there. I said, no, I don't think so. No way it's going to happen, you know? And if it does, I'll be turning the color blue. All right, so that's not going to happen. However, I'll throw out a candidate. Maybe it might be just as impossible as Mark Jackson. What about Kenny Atkinson? Did he just fall off a cliff and into just like Neverland and whatnot? What happened to him? You know, Bishop, I see you pointing at yourself. What does that mean, brother?
Huh? No, I was itching. I was twitching.
Oh, okay, I hear you. But there's quite a few. Yeah, hold on with me for a second. Tyronn Lue was mentioned. Jason Kidd. You know, I don't know this guy's names. Ime Udoka, the Sixers assistants, and Jay Wright were mentioned as possible candidates.
What happened to Sam Cassell?
Sam Cassell, I heard as well. Thank you very much.
Right.
You know. Mm-hmm.
What about Jerry? What about Jerry Stackhouse or Rod Strickland?
I didn't see that.
Stackhouse.
Rod is my choice because he's been doing his thing as an assistant coach in college, and you know, and Stackhouse has gotten some interviews and been mentioned in situations, and it's time for him to get a look. And like Dom was alluding to, Sam Cassell.
I think Sam would be a pretty good option. You know what I'm
Y'all
saying?
know he's been an assistant for over 10 years.
Right. Yeah.
Yep.
Go figure. I think Sam Cassell would be a great option. To be perfectly honest, why not? You know, he understands the games.
How about this, fellas?
Huh?
Right. How about Mike Woodson? He would get that Jollof rice out the locker room for Joel Embiid and get him in shape. And Ben Simmons would work on his three, or Mike would punch him in his face.
I think.
Thank you.
I think the next coach is me. I think the next coach for Philly has to be somebody that is going to be able to has actually walked the walk, and it's going to be somebody who actually is going to be able to get into the heads of Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons and Tobias Harris. He's going to have to be able to get into their heads, kind of like break them down and instill a level of professionalism and pride in what they do in their careers. Because I think these guys are just taking it for granted that, I mean, Joel Embiid, for instance, he's pretty much, he could be the best big man in the game right now. there's nobody in the league that has his skill set at his size. He could pretty much be the best big man in the league, and he just. I watched that Boston series.
Mm-hmm.
You out rebounded by a bunch of guards and small forwards, and getting your shot blocked.
He's a bum. That's right. I said it. He's a bum. Okay.
Well, right now he's playing like a bum.
He sure enough is.
He's shown some good potential, and I just think that with the right coach, that would kind of like force him to step up. Force him to step up. Brett Brown wasn't that guy. He was scared to say anything. Don't understand how you had a point guard who can't hit a jump shot and can't run a pick and roll in a league where three-point shooting is the thing in pick and roll. You got a big man that they don't really feed the ball in the post like that anymore. A lot of it is motion offenses, and pick and roll is a primary part of that's the bread and butter of a motion offense. So like. They never ran that.
Now, Bishop, I called him a bum, and maybe that's a little too harsh, But the way he's played in this series, just like you said, he has the potential to be the best big man in the East, maybe even in the league. I said maybe. I'm not gonna go too far.
Who else? Who
right.
else?
But I'm just giving the benefit of the doubt. Definitely in the East, but I understand what you're saying. Who else? But I'm just saying during this series. It's just embarrassing to see him. As Max said earlier, the worst 30-12, performance in the playoffs. You understand? It's the worst. Yeah. Now, my thing with him is, how long has this dude been in the league? You know what I'm saying?
6-7 years.
4 years now.
If you don't get it now.
No,
about 5 years. About
5 years?
It's been about 5 years.
Okay.
It's been about
but I'm just saying.
Years.
One of them didn't count.
All these years
sat out,
in the league. I'm just saying, all this time in the league and whatnot, and come on, you got to have it within yourself. I mean, I get what you're saying, guys, about the coach motivating. What happened to motivating your goddamn self? Mm-hmm. You understand what I'm saying?
But everybody can't do that. Everybody's not like that, and there are some people who do need to be taught how to work. If you've never had to actually work, right? Mm-hmm. And then you get somewhere and people say, "Hey, you got to work." Well, I've never had to before. If you're a student who had never had to study, right? Mm-hmm. And you could just go in and walk in and take the test, boom. And then now you're in college and now you actually have to study. You have no clue how to study. Someone has to show you. So Joel Embiid might think he's working hard. He might truly believe he's working hard. But if he doesn't know how to work, then he's not. That's where the organization comes in and says, "Hey, you know what? Yeah, I get that you think you studying, but you're not. You're not using flashcards. You're up too late. You got too many outside things. You need to turn the TV off, turn the music off, go find you a good seat." Oh, you understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Who's doing that with him? See, we can always say you got to motivate yourself. Yes, you can be self-motivated, but if you don't know what the hell you're doing, all the self-motivation in the world doesn't help if you're doing it wrong.
Yeah, but
I truly believe that the organization failed him.
Can I ask you a question though? Like this thing right here ain't new. Like there's been other big men in this league that have been through the process that has been through, so it ain't new. So it's like you have a blueprint if that's what you really want. You have a blueprint. So if that's what he really wanted, there's no reason why Joel Embiid can't be successful in the NBA if that's what he really wanted. What I saw was lack of desire. Lack of just the determination. I'm like, you're the only big man in this series. Like, why isn't it about you getting everybody in foul trouble? What the dude from Boston is a small forward, and he out hustled you. And throwing you on the floor. Like every time I look around, Joel Embiid is on the floor, holding his eye, holding his mouth. Dude, come on.
Because that's what he was able to get away with. And again, I go back
But-
to this when you
but watch
haven't
this.
had to work. Go ahead.
Now I was gonna say, but he got his. He got 30 and 12. Tobias Harris was quiet. Al Horford was missing in action. I don't know where Josh Richardson was. I don't know what happened to Shake Milton. And Brett Brown just let it happen. He had this look of, and I think it's partly because they don't respect Brett Brown and they really wanted him out of there. If you look at the reports, there's a lot of shade being thrown at him.
It's bigger than that. Far be it for me to disagree with Bishop.
Oh,
How much, I love him to no end. But what Bishop is talking about as far as the coach, those days are gone. You don't have them no more. You got the Rick Carlisle, maybe the Doc Rivers, who's highly overrated. Those coaches no longer exist. It's almost like the inmates are running the asylum. So you could change the name of the coach, which takes me to Chandler's point. I could take any one of y'all fresh out of high school to a rifle range, show you how to sight, how to do your zero, but I can't pull the trigger for you.
Right.
I can't do that. I can give you all the instructions leading up to you getting to the range, but I can't pull the trigger for you. And this is where we are with a lot of these players, and specifically talking about Embiid. You've had time to pull the trigger, buddy. You've had enough training lessons. You've been in real live situations. And you still, for some unbeknown reason, just can't seem to get it right. He's probably the best big man in the game today. He just hasn't figured it out yet. Again, guys, I'll take you back to what I always say. Certain things are individual tasks. It's like going to the range. Can't nobody pull that trigger for you. Can't nobody shoot that foul shot for you, Joel. Can't nobody take the big man, the little man down low, Joel. You got to do these things. You could bring in any coach you want. If he don't have that drive to say, you know what, he says it all the time. I should do better. I should. And then you see the same movie. You see the same movie over and over again. So pick your coach, and like I said, we'll start the process. Take two.
Actually, he's not the best center in the NBA. It's Djokovic.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the best center in the NBA.
They're
Embiid
about
has
to
far
go
more
home.
talent than Djokovic.
They're about
Stop
to go
that.
home. They're about to go
Stop
home. Stop it.
Yeah.
They're about to go home.
Yeah, they may go home too. Yeah, but
Right.
that being said, they have.
They might go. They might go home, but who would you take
In the East or the West?
if you was on your team tomorrow? Who would?
In the East or the West?
It doesn't matter. If you were pickers and you, it does not. I don't care about East or West. If you were picking a center and you had Joel Embiid standing in front of you and you had Djokovic standing in front of you, who would you take?
I'm taking Embiid. I'm taking Embiid. I'm gonna get the right coach in.
And you ain't going nowhere.
They got two different skill sets, guys. That's a
I'm gonna get the right coach.
That's why I wasn't even.
Yes, they do.
Jokic. They have two totally different skill sets. I don't think Embiid would ever be the complete player. I'm talking shooting, passing, rebounding. His skill set is just totally different than Joel Embiid. Let's just be honest. I forgot about him.
I disagree. Joel Embiid has all of those skills. He doesn't use them a lot, but I've watched him put entire games together where he has literally been the best on the floor, the best rebounder, the best shooter, the best free throw shooter. Listen, he's 84% free throw shooter. Okay, he has the touch. He can shoot. He can put the ball on the floor for someone his size. When he wants to, he can run the floor. The issue with Embiid comes down to working. And we can all disagree on why he doesn't work, but the fact of the matter is we all agree that it's going to come down to him working much harder and better and smarter and more efficiently and all of those things. But Joel Embiid, skill set wise, is the best big in the league. Now, he doesn't always show it, but he's the best big in the league, hands down.
Yep.
It's he got to show it though, Chandler. It's not like this is 2 years. This is 5 going on 6 years.
Last season, you saw like flashes of and glimpses of what he could potentially be just last season. So what happened in between? When they played the Milwaukee Bucks, he was guarding Giannis.
Yep.
As a big man, he was guarding Giannis. Yep. So, and he was stopping Giannis. So blocking his shot, Giannis is running into him, trying to, do that bully ball. It wasn't happening. So it's like, okay, so what's the difference between last season and this season? You had a poor work ethic last season, and you came back with a worse work ethic this season.
It's like, Bishop, you could go buy a 2019 Mercedes-Benz. Ironically, I was goofy enough to look at them this week. You could buy a 2019 Benz or a 2020 Benz. You know the only thing you're getting different? The price tag. Everything's the same from last year to this year. Exactly the same. Maybe a different rim. And that's Joel Embiid. He's exactly what he was last year to this year, but his price tag is too high. I don't get him, Bish, to be honest. I mean, he's a great talent. I'm not taking nothing away from his talent. But if he was in the league for a year or 2 years, I would drop back and say, hey, guys, let's pump the brakes for a minute. And to think, Bishop, what the franchise bestowed on him, they got rid of everybody else. They put their eggs in him and Ben Simmons' basket. Now, pick your poison of who's the worst poison, but they put a lot. They put a lot into him. They let everybody go. Every draft pick they've had before and after him are gone. So that leads me to believe, damn, Bishop, I for nothing else, I should step up for their loyalty, their having faith in me, let alone what they signed me for. There comes a time where you got to sit back and say, damn, maybe I should try harder. Because he says it all the time. Let's be honest. He says it all the time. I should do this. I should do that. I gotta. Next year I'm not bashing him.
Do y'all think he wants to be coached by somebody who has a more stern, more dominant personality than Brett Brown?
Them days are gone, Mark. Them days are gone.
No. Sometimes you gotta have a coach somebody that's walk the walk. So, like, for argument's sake, if I know y'all don't like, I like Mark Jackson.
I do too.
Yep. Mark Jackson has been consummate point guard. He's played with big men. He played with Patrick Ewing. He knows what that position is supposed to be delivering. And he knows it's like, okay, well, you're dogging it. I know you're dogging it. You know you're dogging it. Brett Brown, for some reason, it's like, again, you got Ben Simmons. You're paying him all this money. You scared to tell him that we're going to get you off the ball because you're not giving us what we need? We got to get you off the ball. You scared? Joel Embiid.
Before the playoffs started, before Simmons got hurt, he was going to move him. He moved him to power forward, but we never actually got to see it on the floor because he got hurt.
Yeah, but that was just in this 8-game bubble. What I was saying from the very beginning is, dude, like, if you can't shoot, you can't play point guard in this league. Like, you might be good getting the rebound and starting to break as a point forward, but you can't be the point guard. You can't be the one bringing the ball up and setting everybody. You can't be that guy.
Well, that's not. That's not. We got point guards who can shoot.
What?
Like,
that's funny. Sorry.
We got point guards who can't shoot.
Little funny moment.
Alfred Payton can't shoot.
Hey, you know what, guys? Not to be the dead horse, but the things that Bishop's saying and everybody's saying that a coach should say to him,
Right.
He's saying it. He's actually saying it. I should do. I can do. I can do.
Right.
Yeah, but
I mean, come on, man. Do you
There you
need
go.
the Pope to come tell you this? You're saying this out your own mouth.
Oh God.
Help me out, guys. I'm sorry. It's like
Well.
admitting, I did it.
That's reverse
still-
psychology.
I
That's
didn't do
reverse
it.
psychology.
I'm
didn't tell-
still standing by. Come on, man.
That's reverse psychology. If I tell you that I didn't do something, then you don't have the opportunity to get on me for not doing it because I'm admitting it before you get to me. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
Let me
it's
just say this. Let me
That
say this
works.
real quick. My man Dwayne has been quiet.
Oh,
Probably falling asleep a little bit. I see
I'm
you.
just taking it in. I'm just taking it in.
Okay.
I'm
Nothing to
not a
add
big.
yet?
I'm not really following the basketball right now.
Okay.
So I'm just
Okay.
listening.
Okay, I feel you. Thanks for that support, brother. I appreciate you all day. You know what I'm saying? For real. That's love right there. But yeah, but you know what? Getting back to this whole coach thing with Embiid or whatnot. You mentioned Mark Jackson. Can a guy like Mark Jackson get the most out of Embiid? Can any coach get him out that mode of
I
the
have a
perceived laziness?
I actually have something to say.
Oh, there you go.
Okay, let's
And
say
there it
let's-
is.
let's say that Popovich leaves San Antonio and he don't retire. What would you say about him going to Philadelphia? Because he could probably turn that around.
Yes.
He's a stern, strong,
Mhm.
coach. He's got experience. He knows how to coach big men.
Right.
He could probably pull the most out of him. And I'm sure him going there, he'll probably end up getting like GM as well,
At least.
which will
Right.
probably screw everything up because we saw how that worked with Phil. So, but yeah, let's just say that he goes there. Don't you think Popovich could turn that around?
Yes.
Well, the problem with that is the way that Popovich is coaching. I think the game is passing his coaching style,
yes, sir.
and he's gotten more flexible to kind of like roll with the times. But I think we mentioned this before too. It's like in certain franchises, people just fit. People just fit in certain franchises, and outside of San Antonio, I don't really see Popovich being that guy outside of San Antonio.
You're right,
do.
Bish.
I do. I think what they've done in San Antonio is they understand what fits that market. They understand that market is fine with them always being a contender. That market is fine with, okay, if we win one, if we go 4 years without winning one, but we're always in the playoffs and we're always talked about, that market is good with that. And they built that franchise accordingly. He is coaching within an organization where they're all on the same page. They said, this is how we're going to do business. And he said, okay. I think the same thing would happen. Now, again, I think he would bring some people with him from San Antonio, so he wouldn't be the GM, and they would set up, okay, how do we want to do business in Philly? Popovich is a guy who, if you watch him, he's morphed multiple times over the years. His style of play, what he's done, depending on his lineups. The whole thing with him is there has to be synchronicity top to bottom. And they have to say, okay, this is how we're going to do business, and everybody has to do business that way. So that's why I don't think it would work in Philly, because you got too many hands you got too many cooks in the kitchen in Philly. You got too many people giving input. You got too many people with agendas in Philly. But if he was able to come in there and establish, okay, this is how we're going to do this from here to here. This is how we do business. I think they could be very successful.
Again, I better agree with Bishop early, but the NBA has passed Popovich by. Let's just be honest. He, like Chandler said, Chandler gave us a good roundabout example of it. That system he's in, that system they created, But we saw the wheels coming off that system. He couldn't get the most out of Aldridge. Not saying
Well, not
Aldridge
many
is
people
Embiid.
did.
Right. But he was a stud in Portland. He goes to San Antonio. Let's just say he didn't fit in, whatever the case may be. But then again, Popovich is 70-something years old. And you're going to think he's going to uproot. And again, guys, the NBA has changed. The NBA is more of an ISO point guard shooting from the logos. How would Popovich adjust to that? Knowing he's a headstrong individual, how would he adjust to this new NBA outside of San Antonio? That's a lot to ask.
Well,
for
let
a
me say
70-something-year-old man.
Let me say this, Dom. He doesn't have the talent he had previously. And LaMarcus Aldridge, good player, but not that guy. And he'll never be that guy. He had Tim Duncan and Manu Ginobili and Tony Parker. Who's he got now? DeMar DeRozan, LaMarcus Aldridge, and a lot of serviceable, decent role players. So San Antonio is what San Antonio is. And
again, Mark, it's the NBA. He has been fortunate enough to not see the transformation in the NBA because he's been stuck in San Antonio. The NBA has changed. Phil Jackson knows.
Who's got the fire? Hold on. Who's got the fire engines in the background? Mute yourself, please.
That would be me.
Think about that. The NBA has changed, you guys. And he's been fortunate enough to stay in that same organization where pretty sure they ain't making no move without asking him. But now the NBA has changed. He's never had to coach these type of players.
He's coaching them now. He's coaching them now. DeJounte Murray. DeJounte Murray is the shoot first point guard. They run ISOs.
But see, that the difference, the thing I'm trying to get at, guys, is everybody that came to San Antonio. So you understood what you was getting into when you went to San Antonio. Now we're reversing the cycle. Now you got to go somewhere and you either fall in with that system. And again, the type of players we have today in the NBA, you know, let's just be honest. A lot of them are more into patent stats, doing this, doing that. That don't fit. I'm not saying he couldn't do a good job, guys. Don't get me wrong. I just think that ship has sailed. That's all. Nothing against Pop. I just think that ship has sailed.
And then San Antonio, with the lineup that they had, like with Murray, with DeRozan, with Aldridge, this was pretty much the same lineup. They ran the same system. It just is not. It just doesn't equate with today's game.
Thank you.
When teams are shooting an average of like 35, 43 pointers, and your offensive scheme is to like cut to the basket, move the ball, cut to the basket, back cuts, and you know what I'm saying, mid range, it just doesn't equate. Like if I'm shooting 33 pointers a game, that's 90 points just off of 3 pointers potentially. So the problem that San Antonio had this season was they didn't have offensive firepower because they're still running the same kind of offense. And it's like, it keeps you stable. It keeps the organization competitive. But even in the Western Conference now, like teams like Sacramento and Team Memphis,
Phoenix,
they're gonna outgun you because you haven't adjusted to the time. So it's like,
that's a great point Bishop makes, because who's to say some of these guys couldn't have did what Bishop's saying, but they were hamstringed because of the system they're in. We don't know if Bishop could have made 10 out of 17 threes a night because he wasn't allowed to take them. So again, it's a if and an and. Did the system hold some of these guys back, or again, it's a new world, guys. I mean, we Knicks fans know this. We still are stuck in the mud with a point guard. Point guard shoot, point guard score.
No point guard.
Yeah. So
8 point guards.
Yeah.
The whole
9
thing,
point
though,
guards.
the whole thing though is you get the players that your organization that fits what your organization does, and that's what San Antonio has done. So all I'm saying is he's working with the pieces that they're giving him. Okay, we could say Pop might have some input. At the end of the day, he don't own the team, right? That team has been very successful, even though no one watches San Antonio Spurs game because nobody gives a damn about San Antonio. Let's be honest. Okay, unless they play in the Lakers, unless they play in the Clippers, they're not even on TV most of the time. So there are very few people who are actually watching them, but they're successful. They sell out all of the nonsense. So if you give it comes down to what the organization wants to do. And as far as what Philly goes, yeah, I think Mark Jackson would be a successful coach. I think he would get the most out of those players. I like Sam Cassell as a coach. I don't want Tyronn Lue anywhere near that team. Okay, Tyronn Lue is not a good damn coach. I'm going to say it slow and clear. Tyronn Lue is not a good coach. I don't care that he won a championship. Larry Brown won a championship. He ain't a good damn coach. He's a clown. All right? But Tyronn Lue rode a star player's coattails. He didn't work with any young players. They got rid of all the young players. Why in the hell would you bring Tyronn Lue into that team when you're going to be getting rid of some veterans and probably trying to build around two young players who Tyronn Lue is not going to be able to coach? Why would you do that?
I say Stackhouse. He was your guy from day one.
Yeah, I would
not?
love to see Jerry Stackhouse get that job.
Yeah, I thought the Knicks should have got him. To be honest, before they got the snake oil salesman Fizdale, I thought he was on the top of the Knick list. And now he's coaching where? In some college, Vanderbilt or some crazy college?
Yeah.
Really? I mean, come on. But meanwhile, we're recycling coaches. Okay. And there Sam Cassell sits with his fancy glasses on. Can't get a job.
Right.
Wow. That's the one that sticks in my head, guys. Because he's got the long right now, he has the longest longevity as an assistant coach.
Which is ridiculous.
Right.
Yeah. Because Patrick Ewing went to college, so Sam Cassell took over that spot.
Yeah. And Darvin Ham's right behind him. Darvin Ham too.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
If opportunities come up, you never even hear about these guys' interview. I never even heard him.
Me either.
Maybe that's not his aspiration. It's like he's never even interviewed.
It is. It's his aspiration because I heard him do an interview on NBA radio one day. He didn't say it like somebody's throwing him under the bus. That question what Bishop's saying actually came up. You know, are your aspirations to be a coach or are you just happy with an assistant? He was like, no, this is the reason I became an assistant to, check that box, climb that ladder. But he's been stuck on the first floor for 10 years, going on 11 years. Yeah, that's a long time to be an assistant, guys. Patrick Ewing, of all people, knows it.
Yeah.
So,
Indeed.
And he's had a couple of interviews, but they were courtesy interviews. They would never had any intent to give him the job. It was just, hey, would you mind interviewing my guy so he can get? It was kind of a thing where somebody did him a favor interviewing him so that they could say he's got some experience interviewing, but they were never going to give him the job. But he's had a couple of interviews. I don't, and we've had this conversation on different platforms. At this stage of the game, I'm sick of seeing the same damn coaches. Now I get maybe now in the NBA, it's a couple of black coaches get recycled. I'm sick of seeing recycled coaches.
Right.
Okay. I don't give a damn who you are, what you look like. I'm sick of seeing recycled coaches. Okay. Give these guys who've been busting their behind and have done the grunt work. Okay. Give them a job. Stop giving Jason Kidds and Derek Fisher's jobs. Oh, you just stopped playing? Hey, want to coach? No.
And that's another issue. It seems like the NBA has locked themselves into a barrel, not only with the recycling, but is a point guard the only person that has enough sense to be a coach? You notice that we need point guards to be coaches. Why? I heard somebody say something stupid on NBA radio. The reason they don't pick big guys is because they're big guys. Did we do a brain? Did we? Yeah. I forgot his name. Aziz. He's on ESPN sometimes. He said, yeah. So the guy asked him, is there like an intelligence test they take between size and height and weight? A coach is a coach. I mean, he thinks that big guys can't be coaches.
That's just
I never heard that one before.
No.
They can't think under pressure. It's been scientifically proven. The information they
come
get
on.
from it to get to their brains.
Oh,
It
man.
takes
Take
months.
that damn North Carolina shirt off, damn it.
Oh my God.
That's
That dude.
that's a fly shirt, right?
Oh yeah, look at him sporting my university. One of my many, but I'm proud of you. Except that Nike switch, you need to take that damn thing off.
Hey, I'm
NC
still
stole
fly.
themselves. They sold themselves to the devil. That's all.
Still fly. Still fly.
Still
Yeah.
fly.
You got
That's
the old.
it.
You got
It's
the
in my
Jordan
DNA.
logo on. Is
It's
that
in
got
my
the Jordan
DNA.
logo?
It's in my DNA.
Listen, guys, let's get a little bit of the playoff action that's happening recently. You know, so a couple teams have already been eliminated. I know earlier before the series was starting, a lot of people were worried about Milwaukee against Orlando. Believe it or not, there was some talk that I heard. Well, you know, they're not even going to make out the first round. I'm like,
Nobody said that.
I didn't say yes. Somebody did say it. Yes, I'm telling you.
Really?
Really.
Wow.
Wow.
I'm telling you the truth. They did say it. And I'm like, come on, you gotta stop. Please. Let's be realistic here. You know, okay, Orlando might get a game here, maybe two if they're lucky, but we all know Milwaukee's gonna get past them. Okay? So just stop the nonsense.
Yeah, they're going home.
Yeah, there's no doubt. Orlando's going home. You understand? But one thing I wanted to talk about in particular, huh? What was that?
Yeah.
Oh,
Sorry.
you know, that's all good. It's all good. I'm used to that.
He's back.
bang, bang. No, but I'm just saying, like one thing that has just hit me. I'm going all over the place tonight. There's no structure here. Luka Doncic.
Yeah.
And the Dallas Mavericks. Okay, against the Los Angeles Clippers.
Ooh.
Yeah, that guy, he put on a performance. But I saw something on our group Facebook page, and another player came up, another legend, Larry Legend, in a comparison.
Mm-hmm.
No.
No.
It's way too early. I'm sorry.
No.
It's way too early for that. And I'm not taking anything away from Luka. I think he's a great player right now. I really do. I respect him. He put on a performance the other night, Game 4. You understand? But however, we're talking years. Let's give it more than a few years. You understand? Stop. I appreciate what he is and what he's doing for right now. But as career goes on, let's see. Then you can make a comparison.
And you can't compare him. You can't compare him to Larry Bird.
Yeah.
They don't play the same position.
Exactly.
They don't play alike.
Thank you.
If I was to compare Luka to anybody, he's a version of Jason Kidd. He's Jason Kidd with a jump shot. If you look at him, he's built like Jason Kidd. He sees the floor like Jason Kidd, and he shoots way better than Jason Kidd. And he might not be as good a defender as Jason Kidd is, but he's a version of Jason Kidd. And let's keep it real. Luka is Luka, and Larry Bird is Larry Bird. Larry Bird was great, and Luka is getting there. And he put on a show. He's been putting on a show in the bubble. He's been putting a show this whole season. I was speaking to one of our people in the group, and they said they don't remember anybody that young doing what he's doing. And I said, Magic Johnson. In the championship game, in the game 7. And that's not to compare Luka to Magic, but Luka is one of the better players in the league. And barring injury, yes, he will be in the top 5 in the NBA.
Yeah. You know, I'd compare him. See, I hate this. We can only compare somebody to Larry Bird if they're white. Just because he's white don't mean you compare him to Larry Bird. Okay, you don't compare a forward to a guard, first of all, because they don't play the same damn position. But I just lost who I was going to say. But I would compare him. Yeah, Jason Kidd was a really good example. of a guy that you compare him to because they have a very similar game, except again, he's a far better shooter, not as good a defender. I think he's as good, maybe even a better rebounder than Kidd.
Right.
He just plays at a pace that I like. You know what? I also think of Dennis Johnson when I watch Luka. Again, Dennis was a far superior defender, but
Yes.
Dennis Johnson, before he got to Boston, people forget that before Boston, he actually won a championship in Seattle. Okay, he could score, he could get anywhere he wanted. He was a great assist guy. That would be my cut. But this thing with comparing players, stop comparing different positions.
Right.
Stop comparing different positions. That's
Right.
why the LeBron Jordan comparisons was always stupid because one's a forward and one's a guard. They
Right.
don't play the same damn position. If you are going to compare someone, compare them to someone at the same position, then maybe it makes sense. But Luka listen, he's on his way. I'm still trying to figure out why the Atlanta Hawks didn't want him. I don't give a damn what y'all say about Trae Young. That was a ridiculous thing for Atlanta to do. It was ridiculous. It was ridiculous. It was ridiculous. It's always going to be ridiculous. I said it was ridiculous. Have I said ridiculous enough yet?
I don't think so.
Yeah,
I was gonna say Magic Johnson, to be honest.
Yeah.
Except at this stage of his career compared to that stage of Magic's career, yeah, Magic won, but he had far greater talent. When you're talking about shooting, passing, rebounding at his age, guys, remember, he's setting all sort of records for his first time in the playoffs. Points,
Yes.
assists, triple doubles.
Yep.
You know, he's actually doing things where we really can't compare him to nobody because nobody has done it. When you hear nobody has done something, that means nobody has done it. And you could compare all the positions, guards, forwards, centers. You know, Will Chamberlain's name always comes up with points and this and that and that. When you pass Will Chamberlain in any category, it's but I would almost say Magic, except he shoots better than Magic. He definitely rebounds better than Magic. And I think Magic didn't play no defense. So let's just cancel that part of the equation out. But again, Magic was on a far more loaded team. And somebody brought up the numbers he did in Game 7. Well, Luka did that in his first playoff game. His first. Not his, through the playoffs, his first playoff game.
Right.
I'm not saying this guy's the next coming of anybody. All I'm saying is we should just sit back and enjoy it. Because what he did yesterday.
And enjoy it.
Guys, hey, guys, you know what? There's a debate that they could be up 3-1.
Yes.
So to me, he had two good games. He had two good games, two respectable games. They're still gonna lose the series. It could have just as easily been 3-1 if Paul George shows up.
Get him, Chandler.
Way too much firepower. The Clippers got way too much firepower. If Paul George shows up, then it's not even a competition. It's not even a competition. In the system that he's playing in out west, he can do those things. I think the next game that they play, I think it's going to be a stark difference because I doubt if Doc, Kawhi, I doubt if they're just going to sit back and let him, perform in this next game. So I think there's going to be a stark difference in his performance. And they've done it before. So during the regular season, they were able to take him out of his comfort zone, take him out of the game. So I think that's what they'll start focusing on, as opposed to letting him have what he wants and then trying to stop everybody else.
Right.
To me, to stop Dallas is really simple. Rick Carlisle is really not that. He's really not that great of a coach to me. It's like. You cut off Tim Hardaway. You cut off Hardaway. You force like the others to be scorers. You force the others to be scorers, and you force Luka to be a passer, and that's it. Yesterday they allowed him to walk into the lane. They allowed him the comfort zone, and then with any NBA player, you in the league for a reason. So once you get into your flow, once you get into your bag. it's hard to. I watched Trey Burke. Trey Burke. Once he get into his bag,
Yeah.
he lighten you up for 30 points.
Word.
The dude from Indiana, the kid from Indiana, was
Mhm.
like, yo, who ever heard of this dude? The only time I ever heard of him was when he had the beef with Jimmy Butler. But you let him get into his bag, and they give you for 50. You know, so it's like he in the league for a reason, but I just don't, for them not to have won a series, for them not to have contended for a title, it's like it's far too early for any types of. He needs to put in some work. He needs to put in some work. He needs to have a body of work. This one playoff series that ultimately, like I said, they're gonna lose. This is not a body of work to be gauging and comparing. It's way too early. Way too early.
Why? Why? Because you know what? I find that interesting because it's a whole lot of guys that didn't have a body of work that people started comparing right away. Whether his team wins or not doesn't change the fact that he's a transcendent player. That doesn't change that. His team success does not detract from the fact that you can be a transcendent player and be on bad teams. Dr. J was in Philly for a long time. He was a transcendent player. They weren't actually great teams. Okay, from the time Dr. J walked into the league, it was like, yo, they start comparing Dr. J to the greats. Magic walked into the league, started getting compared to the greats. Oscar Robertson, so on and so forth. Walt Frazier, Pearl Monroe. That's who he started getting compared with from day one. Okay, Zion Williamson, his fat behind can't even play 20 minutes in a game. And I keep hearing that he's a great that we've never seen anything like him. When I can name 10 guys his size that play in the NBA and put in just as much work. But all I got people telling me is, you ain't never seen nobody his size do something like that.
Who's saying that? Who's saying that?
So why do we have to wait other than say, listen, this is a bright shining star, regardless of what happens? Because last I checked, he been giving the Clippers the business for 4 games. So for 4 games, they ain't stopped him yet.
Well, I'm just saying, who's making those proclamations? Is it the announcers, the broadcasters, the
other players, the announcers, the broadcasters, fans, you name it. This is what you've been hearing it, Bishop.
Broadcasters, you said broadcasters, number one. So these are paid people that are paid to say positive things about franchises. Okay.
Other players.
Which ones?
Players from other teams.
But I'm saying, which ones? Anybody that counts?
Yeah.
I mean,
they all count. They're in the league. They all count.
They had a game when they played the Lakers, and he was going back and forth with LeBron, and LeBron was like, hey, the young fella. He said, hey, the young fella, he has the potential to be pretty good, and he left it at that. And all the other, his teammates, those dudes don't count. Like there's no legitimacy on that team. Like who other than Rick Carlisle, of course he would say it because this is bread and butter. But the broadcasters, I don't listen to anything they say because they'll pump up any player. They were pumping up Elton Brand when he was in the league. They were pumping up what's the kid from the other kid from Duke, the one that came into the league and couldn't crack a rotation. The kid with the big hands that played with Philly, then they got rid of him, and they were talking about they hurt his feelings and this and that. So
Okafor.
Yeah.
Right. He was a bust.
Pumping him up. They were pumping. They pumped up Kwame Brown. Oh, he has the greatest potential. He's this. They pumped up countless players. Like so, the broadcasters that means nothing.
But this is 2 years. This is 2 years. This is not a month. This is not a month into his career. And not only that, okay, actually it's longer than that because he's been a professional since he was 16 years old. Okay, he won a championship already. He was an MVP of a league already, of a professional basketball league. And whether you like FIBA or not, doesn't matter. And FIBA's not this soft, everybody just shoot jump shot league people keep claiming over here in the U.S. Watch some FIBA basketball. That game is actually rougher than what the NBA does now because they actually foul people in FIBA. Okay, they actually put people on their ass in FIBA, whereas in the NBA, everybody just shoots 3-pointers. Okay, so this is not some kid that's a year out of college.
Right.
You look at what he did last year, and he's gotten better this year. So his trajectory is going up. I'm not saying that we put him in the conversation with the all-time great. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying, though, is where he is right now, it is valid to say, well, who does he remind you of? That's valid because he has a body of work that says, if I go back to FIBA, I'll go back to championships there, back to MVP of the league there, I go to rookie of the year here. Now I got him leading that team to the playoffs this year when nobody actually thought they was going to make the playoffs. They were like, oh, they'll be maybe a 9. They'll be, you know what I'm saying? They were far better than that. He was the reason for that.
What seed were they?
What would they have been and what they are now is two different things. What would they have been
What seed are they?
7.
They're number 7.
Yeah,
They're 7 now. Yeah. So they were on track to be like a 6 or 7 seed the entire season when they were supposed to be about a 9.
You got to remember though, Bishop, this is really their first year as a complete unit. Porzingis was hurt last year. They got Curry.
Hardaway was
playing. Bit. But the funny thing you mentioned earlier, Bishop, about Paul George, he's like that 2019, 2020 Benz I was talking about. They changed the price tag. You tell me when he has come through in the clutch. I'll wait.
The only problem that I have with what you're saying, Chandler, is if Paul George plays the way he's supposed to play, and just gives them the 15 to 20 points a game that he normally give, that he's good for. We're not even talking. Luka, he could do whatever he want to do, and they're still losing, so it doesn't matter. So again, my point is all this talk about greatness, and a transcendent player and all of this stuff, it's only highlighted or magnified because another guy didn't show up.
Okay, so hold on. So
who didn't show up?
Charles Barkley wasn't a transcendent player because Charles Barkley, last I checked, ain't won a damn thing. Artis Gilmore wasn't a transcendent player. Alex Ennis wasn't George Gervin wasn't a transcendent player. George Gervin ain't won a damn thing. You can be a transcendent player and not win a championship. Those two things are not mutually exclusive.
Not after 1 year. Not after one season.
I'll tell you what, Bishop. You ain't paying no max out. You ain't paying no max contract hoping somebody gets 15, 17 points in the playoff.
Well, the playoffs are different.
And then again, like I said earlier, you just kind of skimmed over that question and you went to something else. But tell me when Paul George has showed up. He's neck and neck with James Harden. He's neck and neck with James Harden in the playoffs. Let's be honest.
The problem there is, like, to me, is just to me. I'm no authority. I'm just a bishop. But the problem to me is, like, I'm not sure, like it can't be a chemistry thing. It can't be a chemistry thing because they played well together during the season.
Right.
The playoff time, it's clear who's the alpha dog on that team. It's crystal clear who the alpha dog on that team is. So I don't know if there's some kind of, like, you know, I'm watching the game and Paul George has shots and he's passing up shots. It can't be
bricking them.
I don't even know why he's bricking them and stuff like that. You don't have Paul George should just play just regular because you don't have any pressure on you. You really don't.
Right.
Yeah, you should be comfortable and natural and in a role that you should be are cut out for, and that's number 2. You understand? You're Robin and Kawhi's Batman. That's it. Period. You understand?
Even Robin drove the Batmobile once in a while. We're talking
once in a while.
We're talking a history of this, guys. His history has been put in dryer, turn up high, and shrink.
Listen, I understand, Dom. My thing is when he was on Indiana. when he was on Indiana, he was number 1. He was number 1 option. That's it. So I can understand that. When he went to OKC, number 2. You should have been number 2. That's just what it is. Because Russ was number 1. You understand? Again, he needs to just thrive in the position he was made to be. He's not a superstar. He's a very good player, not a superstar, and that's just what it is. And as a very good player, you should be able to produce without any type of pressure, or the type of pressure you experienced when you was the number one. How about that in Indiana? You understand what I'm saying? So, come on, man.
In this series, he's got infatuated with 3-point shooting, and it's like, dude, like you got a handle. You can drive to the basket.
Sure.
You can create fouls by just slashing, cutting. He's pretty smart off the ball. It's like, yo, but the only shots that you take are 3-pointers. Like, that's it. It doesn't.
Right.
That's it. And it's like, dude, like, you got to be able to do other things. And it's like, he's more than capable of doing that.
I was just about to say that.
Huh?
You know, I was just about to say that because he's more than capable of doing all the things that you just described.
More than capable of getting you 15 to 20 points tonight. Now, if he got 15 to 20 points tonight, are we even having this conversation about Luka?
Yes, because Luka still would have put up points.
He's still putting up. On the bad game you said he played, Bishop, the one bad game Doncic played this series, he had 13 points, 10 rebounds, 10 assists. And that's the worst game you brought up.
But even if he scored 60, if he scored 60, he had 20 assists and he had 15 rebounds and they lost, guess what? Who cares?
Okay, so Paul George scored 7 points. They lost. Who cares?
So
I'm pretty sure the
what I'm
Clippers
saying to you is at the end of this, they still going home. So who cares?
Well, I'll tell you what.
So let me ask you.
Next year they're going to experience the same thing. Next year they're going to experience the same thing because you got two or three other teams that didn't make the playoffs that are going to be in the playoffs. And I don't see Dallas getting any better because Porzingis, it's the playoffs, and he's talking about his ankle hurting or his knee, last minute scratch.
Well, the team scratched him. That's not up to the player. But hold on. We not gonna do this because Magic Johnson walked into the league and they claimed he and was a transcendent player. But Luka Doncic can't be. And last I checked, everybody keeps talking about the 63 points that Michael Jordan scored against the Boston Celtics. Who won the damn game?
The Celtics.
Boston
did. Okay? But hold on, no. We still talk about the 63 points. That's all he scored 63 points against the Boston Celtics in the playoffs. He scored 63 points against the Boston Celtics in the playoffs. Guess what? They lost the damn game. They lost the series. But that mattered. So see, this narrative that you're trying to push that, well, if your team don't win, what you do don't matter, is a false narrative.
It's the body of work. The reason why they're talking about the 63 points is because it's part of his body of work. The point that I'm trying to make is he has no body of work at this particular juncture. So spending the energy and the airtime on propping somebody up who has no body of work, who, unless they get some other pieces, are going to fall into that same position year after year on this Mavericks team, I'm not really excited about it. That's all I'm saying.
Let's talk body of work, Bishop. In his 2 years, I'm a numbers guy. We're talking body of work, right?
Mm-hmm.
Last year, 21 points, 7.5, 8 rebounds, 6 assists. This year, as a rookie. This year, we're talking body of work. This is a body of work. This year, 28.8, 29. 8.8 assists, let's say 9. 9.5 rebounds. That's a body of work. That is going from here to here. So we see a progressive upward movement. If he would have had a stellar rookie year and came back this year and averaged 19, 6, and 6, we'd say, man, let's pump. But then you take what you keep saying, Bishop, that body of work. He showed you a body of work in 2 years. And his first year in the playoffs, his body of work has eclipsed some of the greatest players in this game. Win, lose, or draw. We're talking body of work. Not me. You said body of work, Bish.
Oh, hold on for a second.
Body of work.
Hold on for a second. Let me bring in Max 611 since he doesn't want to cut anybody. Yeah, listen to this. This is funny to me. Max 611, can you hear me? Okay. This is funny. Now this is
Can you
hilarious.
hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, but let me just finish this before you do your usual thing.
Cool.
This is hilarious. Max 611 hit me up just now, talking about can I bring him into the convo on the point guard, with Luka and the comparisons, Paul George, da 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 da. And the funny thing about that is he said to me, I just want to make sure I don't cut anybody off. I found that hilarious. So with that being said, go ahead, Mac. Sorry.
First of all, F you. But
go ahead, brother.
Yo, Paul George hasn't stepped up. He has a history of not stepping up in big moments. So he's not stepping up. This is nothing new. And I don't think he will because he's not. And that's partly why LA lost. And they might lose a series because Luka is on fire. Trey Burke is killing them. Little Curry is killing them. And that could be the ball game. Luka went off without KP.
Okay.
And again, like Dom said, the body of work, he's exceeded what he did last year. He's exceeded what he did in this season by stepping it up in the playoffs. So get a man his due. He's balling.
Well, again. So when I think of body of work, I'm thinking about like they go into the Western Conference Finals. They are making noise. They are being they letting everybody know that they've arrived in the Western Conference. At this stage in his career, the best that they could do with him averaging 30 points a game, I'll say 30 points a game, 10 assists, 10 rebounds, is number 7. That's the best that they could do. And at number 7, they're going home in the first round. They're going home in the first round. I said it. They're going home in the first round. And even if he averaged 40 points a game, it's like, yo, you're still losing. You're still going home in the first round.
But that got nothing to do with him. That has nothing to do with his body of work. You bringing up body of work.
Again, it doesn't qualify him.
Body of work.
It doesn't qualify him. It doesn't qualify him to me for him to be compared to people who have done it for years and years and years and years. You might say, hey, well, he's similar to, or whatever, but to put him up on this pedestal like this is going to be the next coming, that's a pretty.
I don't think nobody's saying that, Bishop. But you keep bringing up body of work.
Nobody on
Paul
here is
body
doing
of
that.
work is substandard for a max player. Now you take what Dallas has done, Bishop. They could go home this series. They honestly can, and they might just well do that. But don't tell me they didn't wake some people up, especially the Clippers. Because I'm pretty sure, according to you and body of work, this series should have been over. Like you said, a 7th seed. Right. The series should have been over.
If Paul George shows up,
if sedans were
Paul George shows up for one of these games, what was the point differential? What's the point differential?
It don't matter. It's a loss. You keep saying it's a loss. You can't go back on what you're saying, Bishop. Come on, you want to
loss.
So Bishop, you waiting for?
I'm not. I'm just
hold on. Hold on. You waiting for Paul George to step up? He's never done it.
Right.
He will.
Okay.
As a number one, he hasn't. As a number one, he hasn't.
You said
as a number one, he hasn't. As a number one, he hasn't. But as a 2 or 3,
well, as a number 2 right now, as a number two right now, he hasn't stepped up.
Right.
And hasn't. As a 2 or 1 or 3 or 4. It is what it is. It is what it is.
But you do realize that could change. That can change.
Course. So can the weather.
Not yet.
Exactly.
Not yet. But again, right now he's Alfred. Right now he's Alfred.
Yeah, he ain't even Robin.
Number one.
So me and Dom are numbers guys. shooting 29%.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Paul George is
Uh-oh.
shooting 29% from the field in this and 20% from the line.
Yeah.
And I bet if
Is he gonna fuck?
if we track his playoff performances, it's probably pretty similar. I'm just saying, Bishop, you keep saying this body of work. He has no body of work. And he's been in the league how long?
And you know
Just
what?
asking.
Close to 10 years.
Yeah, I'm just asking.
Yeah.
I don't know the answer. I could look it up, but thanks, bro.
And Bishop, you said the 2 or 3 teams are going to step up next season. Ain't no guarantee of that. Let's see. The Pelicans fired their coach. The Sacramento Kings had to get rid of Vlade. Finally, they got rid of Vlade.
Right.
Right.
The Phoenix Suns, for all that the Phoenix Suns did this year, that's a team that has never won anything and doesn't have a lot of players who are experienced at dealing with expectations. So how do they're going to do anything? The Dallas Mavericks came into the season with some expectations, and they actually met those expectations. One of the few teams that came into the season with expectations that actually did. So, I mean, I get what you're saying. Listen, ain't nobody trying to say he's the greatest thing since sliced bread, but it is not far-fetched to look at him and say, hey, this guy reminds me of this player. That's not knocking the other player. That's just saying when I look at his game, this is what I see. You know, there's nothing wrong with that. It's not an either or. I can still leave Jason Kidd where he is. Listen, I hate Jason Kidd as a human being, and I hate using this dude. Let me be very clear about this. I can't stand him. Okay, I hope he gets hit by 3 trains and a bus. But there's nothing wrong with leaving Jason Kidd as one of the greatest point guards in the NBA and saying, when I look at Luka, I see Jason Kidd. That's not denigrating Jason Kidd, and it's not elevating Luka to where he is. I'm saying if he continues on his track, there's going to come a time we're going to have a conversation. Well, which one would you have rather had?
So
I will say this, Bishop. They had a better winning percentage than the Sixers.
Yeah, but you still got. You know what I'm saying? You still got Memphis. You still got Memphis, and you got Phoenix. Phoenix had a subpar because they had a lot of injuries going on. They had to do with the steroids and all that eating.
Yeah.
Excuses.
No. I'm saying you got 2 up and coming teams. They finished at 7. You got 2 up and coming teams, and then you also got to remember you had the Blazers, who probably should have been in that 4 or 5 seed, but they had a lot of other issues going on too. So you still got teams that's coming up that it ain't just gonna be like a cakewalk. It ain't gonna be like, okay, well, let's just coronate the Dallas Mavericks as going to the playoffs every year and so forth and so on. Yeah, he may be a numbers getter. He may be somebody with gaudy stats, but at the end of the day, he's done nothing yet.
Gaudy stats and he's taking game-winning shots.
And he's done nothing yet.
And they had the second best road record. They had the second best road record in the West.
Okay. All right.
Better than the Clippers.
Okay.
Better than any other team in the playoffs in the Western
And they finished
Conference.
7th. And they finished 7th.
Yeah. They finished
7th.
And they had a higher winning percentage than Philly. They're in a tougher conference. Let's not get that twisted. But
this is
they had the second best
point I'm trying to make. That's the point I'm trying to make.
Road record in the West.
That's the point I'm trying to make.
It's progression, though, Bishop. You're talking about ifs and ands with other teams that ain't even in the playoffs. We don't know what's going to happen to them next year, but Dallas has proven that they're going up, not down. Phoenix is trying to scratch the surface. Sacramento's trying to scratch the surface. They ain't get there yet. Dallas is there. Dallas is where these teams are trying to get to.
And don't forget about
all right.
Don't forget about Golden State either next year. Don't
True.
forget about don't
True.
count out Golden State next year.
Right. So you got teams coming up that it ain't a foregone conclusion. I could see him getting gaudy stats and still sitting on the outside looking in.
Again, Bishop, going by what you're saying, we see teams coming up. Dallas is one of them.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yo, I like getting Bishop upset. This is funny to me. I'm just messing with you, Bishop. But here's the thing. I'm gonna mention something else. They're about the playoffs and whatnot. The Lakers against the Trailblazers. Matter of fact, that game should be going on right now.
It is.
And the Lakers are blowing them out.
Oh,
They
No, they're
are.
not. No, they're not. No, they're not.
Yes, they are.
No, they're not.
The Lakers are
No,
up
they're not
22.
No, they're not
Lakers-
dominant.
Yeah, they
No,
are.
they're not dumb.
I'm
No, they're
not
not.
stupid. I can read, damn it. Look.
No, they're not.
No matter who I'm going for, I can read, Bishop.
No, they're
Don't
not.
make me smoke another damn cigarette. I don't smoke this many cigarettes unless I'm around you.
No,
You're
they're
getting
not.
blown out.
If we go back to the videotape,
Can you
if
see
we go
the
back to
score?
the videotape,
Where's it at? My
if we
bad.
go back to the videotape,
What's the
we
score?
can go back to the footage. We can go
What's-
back to the footage.
what's the score,
Somebody
Dom?
said to me last week.
68-46.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Somebody said to me last week,
Yeah.
there's no way that the Lakers have enough offensive firepower
Yeah, I
to
did say
deal
that.
with the likes of Dame Dollar, CJ McCollum, Carmelo Anthony, and Nurkic. And I said to them earnestly, from the bottom of my heart, I say, yo, listen, don't count Nurkic in the equation. I said they got 35, 47 footers. You can't really count Nurkic in the equation. And Dame and CJ, they're guardable.
Ironically,
They-
Nurkic is the only one playing tonight, actually. He got 15
Yeah.
points, 8
Right.
rebounds.
Now,
Right.
now hold on.
Because
I
then
gotta
they said,
I gotta call down to the carpet on this one. You
Go ahead.
was MIA for a second too. Now,
When?
come on now, brother.
Help me out.
You was a
help me
little
out.
you was a little MIA on the page, on the group page for a second.
No, I wasn't. I came right back with the wolf, the night vision goggles. I ain't hiding. I ain't got shit else to do.
no, he didn't.
You got
He
my phone number, R. You could
didn't hide.
dog me. I'm a
He
big
didn't
boy.
He
I'm
issued,
fine.
I
A
said,
dead
"Where's
clock
Dom?
is
What
right
happened?"
twice a day. I mean,
Uh,
damn.
he issued an APB out after game one. After game
Yeah, I
one,
did.
he
That was
issued
fun, wasn't it? Y'all like that shit. Don't lie.
after game
Yeah.
one. I was like, no, he didn't. No, he didn't.
But
Yes,
it
he
ain't
did.
over. The series ain't
Yep.
over.
APB.
I may
said,
be
okay.
wrong, but I ain't
All
going
right.
nowhere. I'm
Right.
right here.
Nah, I
I
hear
could have just. I knew y'all was gonna bring it up tonight. I could have just not called in, but that wouldn't have been right. I
Nah,
could be
that wouldn't-
wrong. Shoot,
That wouldn't have been right.
I could be wrong.
It's all
Just
good.
like
It's
I
all
was
good.
wrong about the Clippers. But hey,
It's all good, brother. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we were all wrong about that Miami Indiana series. That
Not
wasn't even
me.
close.
Not me.
No,
I
not
told
me.
you, they were missing too much, man. Oladipo, a half of Oladipo, a no Sabonis.
Okay,
Let
you
me tell
thought
you
it was going to be a
something,
sweep. You thought that was
Not
going
to
to be a
change-
sweep.
No.
I thought
I
Indiana
didn't
would
say
win
sweep.
one game. No, I
Oh,
thought
I know I
Indiana
didn't
would
say
win one game. We could rewind the tape. I thought they'd win one game,
Yeah,
but they're
that's what I
missing
meant.
too much. And I'll tell you what, guys, not to get off of Bishop's high horse because I know he wants to gloat, but when Miami grows up, guys, I don't know.
Yeah.
I just don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, he got on his damn goggles, looking like James Worthy with the North Carolina shirt on. I'll tell you what, Miami. Who's Miami play? Toronto.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They play Toronto.
yeah,
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah.
And
Boston.
Boston plays Milwaukee, or vice versa.
No, I think Miami plays Milwaukee.
Hold on.
Yeah.
I'll look for you, Bishop. That's how much I love you.
Okay, all right. It's all love. It's all love. All my brothers keep.
Toronto
I never mislead
plays
you.
Boston. Yeah, Toronto
I'll
plays
never
Boston.
mislead you. I'll never mislead you.
Toronto plays Boston. Milwaukee plays the Nets. I mean the Heat.
The Heat.
Milwaukee
Right.
might go home. They
Oh,
might not
he-
even get to where I thought they'd lose to Toronto, but
Milwaukee's going home. Milwaukee's going home.
you think so?
Yeah.
I
Milwaukee's
might.
going
See,
home.
we agree on something.
They might.
Yeah, we can hang up now.
Milwaukee's going home.
Yes, they
Right.
are.
Want to know how they do? Want to know how it's going to happen?
Please. Please.
Want to know how it's going to happen?
shut down
I
Giannis.
should do.
Let me
Huh?
see.
Only,
gonna shut
only
down
thing they're
Giannis.
gonna do. Only thing Miami's gonna do is wall off Giannis,
Yep.
and put somebody on Chris Middleton, and it's a wrap.
Mm.
Yep.
It's a
I'll
wreck.
tell you what, guys. I said this earlier in the year on another. I think I told y'all too. I'll tell you what, Miami, and guess what? Body of work, young kids, ain't been there before. Ooh. Again, Indiana, maybe if they had Sabonis and Oladipo at semi-healthy, it might have been a little different. But nah, that was a sweep make. That I thought they'd win one game, but that's going to be a good series. Miami ain't going away from Milwaukee.
I thought so too.
Yeah,
Yep.
Miami is not going away. Guess what? They'll get just as physical, and they can shoot.
And when they played,
they could shoot.
in the regular season, the games that Miami beat them,
Beat them. And I think they beat them 2 out of 3 games or 3 out of 4.
Yeah.
Whatever they got to.
Them. Yeah, they beat them.
They beat the brakes off them in Milwaukee.
Yeah, it wasn't a close game. They beat them they outplayed them.
Okay, that's going to be a great series. Hopefully.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't have a lot of faith in Milwaukee, guys, to be honest.
No.
I just think their system is not today's NBA type system. They don't shoot very well. So, and Miami can play defense, guys, and they're well coached. And you can't tell Hero Robinson that, hey, you're too young to shoot. Man, I'm going to shoot. It goes in. And so far, it's been going in. And then, of course, you got my ultimate alpha dog, Butler. This is a recipe for disaster for Milwaukee, guys. Oof.
But here's a question for you. If Milwaukee loses, does Budenholzer lose his job?
No.
He should.
No.
You should.
Because that team has not gotten appreciably better.
No.
That team has not gotten better.
No.
They haven't got much talent either. And they let Brogdon go. You know, they you know what? I hate to say this, guys. They may be one of those great regular season teams. Remember when the Atlanta Hawks were winning 58, 60 games and 54 games? And, you know, there's just some teams that are good regular season teams. But when it comes to the playoffs, and again, guys, I hate to pound this to death, the Toronto Raptors gave everybody the blueprint last year. And guess what happened?
Yeah.
They could have had the best record in the league, but when they played the better teams and they knew how to do that wall, what happened? Bishop brought up a good point. Miami beat the brakes off of Milwaukee. There wasn't no close games, guys. Somebody check the numbers. They weren't close games. And they beat the brakes off them at home, where Milwaukee was one of the best home teams.
Yep.
They built the wall, and now you got to chase these young kids around. And guess what? On a drop of the dime, Spoelstra, who started that none all year, saw the wheels coming off of Young. Here comes Grogic. Just like that. Like you never even noticed a change. And he's busting everybody's ass. I don't know, guys. They're going home. Sorry. Best record in the league. Second round exit.
Yeah. I can't even, debate that. That's very factual.
One of the things that you look at Milwaukee when they got down when they played Orlando. Orlando is really not a good team.
No.
But when they got down and they had to play from behind, it was tough. It was tough for them, and Giannis got dejected. They stopped hitting the 3-pointers, and Chris Middleton looked like looked like a regular dude. And it's like, they can't play from behind. And when somebody like out physicals them, which Miami will do, when somebody out physicals them, they don't really know how to respond to that.
And just think, the Magic were missing 2 big pieces.
Right.
That would have been part of that wall.
Right.
Yep.
Not to mention, I forgot his name, the shooter. What's his name? Fournier?
Yes.
Yeah.
He hasn't had a good game yet. But they're missing 3 players. Not to mention Gordon. They're missing Bambo, whatever his name is.
Mm-hmm.
Gordon and Isaac. 3 bigs. I mean, Gordon's not a big, but the other 2, there goes that wall.
Right.
And I mean, they're gonna lose. Don't get me wrong, but I'll tell you what, if you thought Milwaukee wasn't going to sweep Orlando, or I would say should have swept Orlando, come on, guys. And guess what? It wouldn't have got no easier whoever Milwaukee was playing in the second round. Just think of that toss-up,
Exactly.
Miami or Boston. Whoa. They were going home either way. Sorry. They just don't match up with those kind of teams.
Right.
And Boston is
So
even
Toronto's
worse.
going back to the championship.
Boston is even worse because Boston not only do they play physical, but they got scorers. And who's chasing Kemba Walker around?
And them legs, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Chasing Kemba, certainly not Bledsoe. If he got torched by Rozier, if he got torched by Rozier in the playoffs, I can't imagine what Kemba would be doing to him. So it's like Boston would be even the worst matchup for them.
And Boston has the greatest player in the NBA on their team right now, Marcus Smart. The only guy in the NBA that scores 3 points a game, but can turn a whole game upside down.
That's true.
Think about
That's
that.
true.
Dude,
That
that's
is
just like 5 points. And he's always in the mix of something, whether it's defense, rebounding, steals, hustle plays. You know, I take 10 of him on the Knicks.
He's
Why
one of
give
those
up
players.
10 players for him on the Knicks?
He's definitely one of those.
Can I ask a question?
Go ahead, Mac.
Yo, Donovan Mitchell and Jamal Murray.
Ooh.
Both of them had 50
Ooh.
points.
What?
Yeah. Yeah.
Both of them had 50 points. They've been trading
won the game?
baskets for this whole series.
Yep.
Utah won.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a surprise
They up
series,
3-1?
guys. Yeah.
They up
Yeah.
3-1?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, Denver's going home
Yeah.
too.
Yep.
Yeah, they might.
But-
They
I hate
might.
to say it, but they are. Mm-hmm.
But I'm not talking about the series. I'm talking about those two young gentlemen. We talked about
Yes.
Luka. What about them?
Ooh.
Yes. Yes.
What
Now,
about
again-
Donovan Mitchell? He said, I want this. I want this.
Now, the difference with them, Mac, is they've been to this rodeo a couple of times. And this is Doncic's first rodeo. But the painfulest part for a Knicks fan is Donovan Mitchell and Jamal Murray. Don't forget, Jamal Murray got drafted by Denver via the Knicks trade for Carmelo. And the Knicks took who? Ntilikina instead of Mitchell.
Yeah.
I mean, we
But
can
I
always
don't
go
think-
back in time, but think of that for a minute.
I don't think Donovan Mitchell would be the player he is had he come to the Knicks, to be quite honest with you.
Oof.
I like
Yeah.
how they developed him.
Probably not.
Also, let's not forget that last season in the playoffs, he played horribly. And then now to tie this up with the Embiid thing, when we're talking about people working on their own game on their own, look at what he's done this playoffs versus last playoffs. He's not even the same player. He's more focused. He knows what he's got to do. He's playing better. He's shooting better. He's scoring. He's making better decisions. He actually worked in the offseason on all the things that went wrong. I mean, Jamal Murray is just a flat-out scorer. But these two young players, man, listen, Donovan Mitchell, he's just scratching the surface, I think, of what he could possibly be. And if he keeps progressing, man, you ain't gonna be able to talk. You ain't gonna be able to talk about young guards in the NBA without mentioning him and Jamal Murray. If they keep on doing what they're doing.
If Jamal Murray don't go 2 for 13 in Game 7 against Portland, they were going to the conference finals last year.
Yeah.
Rewind that tape. I ain't no Portland fan.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. But if he don't go 2 for 13, Portland's going home. They wouldn't have made it to the conference finals. Remember? He went 2 for 13. I mean, I know it was only his probably second year in the league. Or maybe he was a rookie last year. I don't know. I think it was his second year. But he went 2 for 13. 2 for 13 in the Game 7. And it ain't like Portland blew him out. If y'all remember that game, Portland did not blow them out.
No,
And
that
Murray
came to
went
last
2 for
year.
13.
Yeah.
Yeah, think about that. So he learned, and look at him now. And again, it's so painful for me as a Knicks fan to watch the playoffs and think of all of the players that are in these playoffs that had something to do with the Knicks.
Right.
Even Tim Hardaway, who we couldn't stand,
Yeah.
is lighting it up.
Trey Burke.
Jamal Murray.
Trey Burke
Porter
couldn't get off the
Jr.
bench for David Fisdale. David
Yeah.
Fisdale couldn't find no use for Trey Burke. He averages 16 points a game.
Trey
to play.
Burke. Yeah, the list just goes on and on. It's sickening.
And
I don't
yet, hope springs eternal.
know. That's
Here
right,
you
Oz. It's hard.
Huh?
It's
Hope
hard.
springs
It's hard.
eternal.
It's hard watching the playoffs, guys. But if you're a Knicks fan, I know what people say. Oh, you know that, but just think about it, guys. There's a Knick All-Star team out there in the
Exactly.
playoffs right now.
Right now.
Right now, there's All-Stars in the NBA that has something to do with the Knicks. Unreal.
Jesus.
Unreal.
But
to include Pat Riley.
all of them are playing a role, though. Tim Hardaway was overpaid to be here, and gotta
Then
go.
again, he didn't. Y'all always blame coaches. He didn't have a good coach either. I mean,
That's true. Trey Burke was just passing through here. He wasn't going to be a Knick long term, and Philly should have kept him because he was in Philly earlier this year. But he's found his niche in Dallas, and
this guy is a serious story, guys. If you track him from Mr. Ohio, High School Player of the Year, NCAA Player of the Year, championship game, somewhere between all of that and getting drafted by the Jazz, something went horribly wrong for him. Whether he started feeling himself, whatever happened, he reinvented himself, went to the G League, came back. And guess what? He's still Trey Burke. He's still Trey Burke, guys. I mean, he's not old. He's only in his mid-20s. Yeah. But he's a hell of a story to see where he came from and his fall from grace and to get back off the canvas. And the Knicks had him. And the Knicks still do not have a point guard. That's unbelievable. I don't care if he was passing through, Mark. While he was there, somebody should have said, hey, man, you want lunch? We need a point guard. I mean, Jesus Christ.
Hell yeah.
Kevin Knox, Michael Porter Jr., Melo, Murray. This shit just don't stop, guys. It's like a bad dream you can't wake up from. Serious. Porzingis. Say what you want. Knicks fans will say, oh, we got Dallas's draft picks. They're going to be late picks. There ain't nobody coming out in the draft to begin with. And now you're going to say, oh, we're going to reinvent the wheel with a late first-round pick and a number 8 pick. No, trade them damn things. Trade them. Trade them. You ain't getting nobody not in this year's draft.
Actually, I think
I don't
draft
really.
Go ahead, Mac. I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Mac.
No. Keep going, champ.
I was going to say this draft, because of how everything is played out in this pandemic, there are going to be, if your scouting department is on point, if your organization actually knows what the hell it's doing, there are going to be some players available second round undrafted that probably would have went high second, late first round, maybe even mid first round that that are going to fall, and they're going to be plucked up by teams who actually know what the hell they're doing. So if your coach and your scouting staff and your GM know what they're doing, you can get some really good players out of this draft as undrafted players, because without the NCAA tournament, and we all know that the NCAA tournament bumps some guys up, bumps some guys down, valid or not, that's what happens. Without that, you're relying on your scouting department. How many teams really have good scouting departments? Because think about this. Duncan Robinson, the only team that went after him as an undrafted free agent was Miami. Why? Because one of their scouts said to Eric Spoelstra, you have to sign this guy. And he trusted his scout and said, okay. So they went and got him. How's that worked out for Miami? How's that worked out?
And Duncan Robinson is he's like an NAIA player.
Yeah.
Undrafted. He was undrafted.
Started out Division 3.
Undrafted.
So was none.
Yeah, Division 3.
Undrafted.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Division 3 player.
But here's the scary thing about this year, guys. Most of the time, we're rolling the dice with these one and dones. And of course, you got to have patience, because a lot of these one and dones have not been. Now you're talking a half and done. because they basically played a half a season. So they're basically still they're actually closer to high school than they are college.
Mm-hmm.
And we already had enough issues with these one and dones, and now we're gonna get half and done. So plus, like I said, guys, I watch a lot of college ball, and there's really, and if you got an 8 pick, God bless you. God bless you. Halliburton,
We'll see.
Weissman, maybe Ball. Okay, those might be your top 3 picks. What's after that? What's
There are
after
some good
that?
players. There are some
They're
good
good,
players.
yeah.
No. What I'm saying,
Obi-
there are some players to be drafted in the late, in that range,
Okay.
that are 4-year players that people aren't talking about because they're only focused on the one and done. And this is why I keep going back to the scouting departments have to be able to do their job.
Right. Definitely. You know what I mean? Hey, I think this is gonna be my final topic for tonight. Let's talk about what's happening with Houston and OKC. We haven't touched that yet. We haven't touched that one. And I'm sure there's a lot of commentary on that one.
Did y'all see Did y'all see today's game?
Yes, I did.
I missed it.
Okay. With the game on the line, Houston 0 for 4, 3 turnovers. That's the game.
However, I did hear that they took a lot of 3-pointers. I mean, what else is new?
58.
You know what I'm saying?
58.
Yeah, 58. You know? And if that percentage wasn't high, that's an automatic loss for them. You understand? There's some people out.
Right.
Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
The game before that, they shot horribly. They shot in the 20s from the 3-point
You're not winning.
So
You're not winning.
the wheels are about to fall off. They're about to fall off that cliff that they always fall off of.
Right. Yep. I mean, again, they just can't seem to close the deal. You understand what I'm saying? And my thing is, for the people that remain so hopeful, so they want to have this positive outlook on this team, you have to realize they just can't get it done. You understand? The one time that they were close and Chris Paul got hurt in that series, and they didn't have him available for, I think, either Game 6 or Game 7, and that was their best chance at getting past Golden State at that time. That was their absolute best chance at it. But if you look at recent history, playoff-wise for this team, it's a fact they just can't get it done. You understand? They can't close. They fold under pressure. Mac, you should dedicate that meme disappearing acts, the movie, to them, because it's so appropriate for them. It's like a perfect match. It's like peanut butter and jelly. You understand what I'm saying? They disappeared many times, man. When the heat is on, they shrink. They fall apart. They're not built for it.
Yep. And it usually ends in a hail of threes and turnovers. missed threes and turnovers.
Yeah,
Exactly.
This is where I have to agree with Bishop before we go to bed again. This is why I don't listen to all of this stuff. And y'all always hear me talk about reality and social media. Remember when the Rockets were up 2-0? Oh, who needs Westbrook?
They do.
Right.
He was their most efficient player all season.
Exactly.
And in fact, if y'all look, Bishop is sleeping right now.
Is he knocked out?
No, he's up.
It's all good.
They were up 2-0, and who needs Westbrook?
Right.
Westbrook is the only guy in NBA history, guys, where it took 54 years for somebody to get a triple-double. And then when he did it 3 years in a row, it was like, what's a triple-double? Really? Right. Talk to the Rockets about that right now. They take a double-double right now because all of the games have been close.
Yeah.
A lot of the games have been close.
Right.
And they just couldn't close the deal.
There you go. That's what I'm
and
saying.
They actually did better today, They went from 30% shooting from 3 last time to 32 today. But shooting 50-something of them.
Yeah.
Right.
Wow.
But still, that's horrible. And again,
you got to give them credit, though, guys. Win, lose, or draw. They stick to their game plan.
I'm not.
I'm not giving them
They
credit for
stick to
that.
their game.
I'm not giving him no credit.
I'm just saying, guys. They ain't trying to reinvent the wheel. We're gonna shoot 63s a night. That's it.
Yep.
They could do that and never reach a championship. Exactly. God bless them.
But they're sticking to their game plan. Or get out there and shoot your 33s. Bishop, do your 20. And I mean, that's one hell of a game plan, guys. You never have to adjust. Right? You don't have to adjust. And guess what? Adams beat the hell out of them today. I was waiting for that.
Sure.
I was waiting.
Yes,
for that.
amen.
When's Adams just going to punish these little kids
There you go.
down
There you
low?
go.
He did it today.
Thank
So,
God.
they might lose to OKC, guys.
Yep.
Yeah.
My thing is, when at some point, when are they going to fire this guy, the coach? What's going on?
They're not.
This is shit.
After this,
If you fire him, what are you
After
going to
this
do? Is
playoffs-
Harden going to change?
No.
Is he going to stop shooting
No,
threes?
Daryl
because we
Morey's
hire
getting fired.
Bishop?
Remember, it's a power struggle between him and Daryl Morey.
Okay.
But think about that, guys. If you get R to coach tomorrow, is Bishop going to stop shooting 33s tomorrow?
Nope.
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 I'd like to think so, but I do hear what you're saying.
Okay.
I'd like to think so. I like to believe that, but that's probably never land I'm living in. You know what I'm saying?
That is crazy, guys.
Yeah,
They,
it is
They shot 123s in 2 games.
ridiculous.
Well, I just caution you guys. Just a reminder.
Oh,
Just a reminder.
Oh,
We still haven't had. I wasn't asleep. I was just listening. You guys were talking about Denver and Utah. I already told you. It's like I'm not even interested in.
he's not a fan of those two teams.
Nah.
They both can lose as far as I'm concerned. And I was just it's like the CP3 effect. He hasn't suffered that hammy injury.
Mm-hmm.
He hasn't suffered that hammy
Right.
injury or some kind of debilitating season-ending injury.
How
He
dare you?
Right.
He always gets them. It's like he gets them right to that point, right to the pinnacle, and then it happens.
Oh.
And then it happens. You see him dribbling down, then you see him grabbing the back of his. You see him grabbing the back of his leg,
That's facts.
punching the table, and then that's it.
But just think, Bishop, that's after an 82-game season. They ain't even get to 82 games yet.
Right.
So that hammy might be on the back burner for a minute.
I don't know. I
Just saying.
don't know. It's
Yeah.
been he's been a 10 for 10 when it comes to that.
Oof.
He's got a real high injury percentage.
Right. I like how you put that.
I think that D'Antoni's staying though, because him and Daryl Morey been having a power struggle for the past couple of years. Daryl Morey's going to lose his job because don't forget that before the pandemic, he had already cost the NBA a few $100 million. He had already cost the league that much. So he was getting fired at the end of the season no matter what. Okay. He was going to get fired because he cost the league money. Now you add the pandemic and that extra money lost. The owner of the Rockets is looking at him like, so, okay, you already cost me money and now I'm losing even more money and we lost in the first round. You can go now. I think Daryl Morey is the one that goes. I really do. I think he's the one that goes. And if he goes, then I think D'Antoni stays. Because the owner is the one who wanted to negotiate the extension with D'Antoni. It wasn't Daryl Morey. Daryl Morey was ready to let D'Antoni walk. And the owner stepped in and said, no. So if the owner's on the coach's side and I just cost you $300 million, who's leaving at the end of the year?
Both of them.
That's a good point.
Both of them. And Morey
That's a
will
good
end up
point.
with the Sixers.
I don't think Daryl Morey gets another job in the NBA for at least 3 years.
Oh, he will. Nah, he won't. He'll get a
Nah,
job.
bro. Listen, he cost them a lot of money, man. I'm telling you, them billionaires, they got long memories when you get in their pockets.
Hey,
Yeah,
sometimes
sure.
sometimes when you sleep with Phillies, you come up and scratch. It is what it is. I mean, sorry.
I kind of I gotta tell you, I be honest, I gotta kind of agree with Chandler on that one. That makes just dollars and cents to me. I'm like, so we'll see, man. I just think it's a damn joke that this guy's still gonna wind up having his coaching job though with this organization.
Yeah, I think
you know what I'm
he's
saying.
done.
I think it's ridiculous. You know what I'm saying?
The Sixers are going to hire him. They're going to hire both of them. Oregon and D'Antoni. Bring that thing right to Philly.
Oh my God!
And for more losing, right?
And Embiid won't be able to breathe after the first quarter. Be like, no. But it might help Simmons, even though he can't shoot threes. But
Right.
yeah. Oof.
Well, gentlemen, I want to thank you guys. We're gonna shut it down for the night. It's been a real good one. You know what I'm saying? So thank you guys for calling it. Well, not calling. We don't do that anymore, but for video chatting in, should I say? And Chandler, thank you. Dominic, thank you. Bishop, thank you. Dwayne was here for a minute. If you're still listening or want to replay and you see us, thank you. Holla, thanks for being in the chat room, as well as my man Ronan Black. Peace and love to you guys, and for everybody else that tuned in. I didn't see your names. I'm sorry, but thank you for checking us out, and we will see you soon here on In the Paint. So with that, God bless. Peace out.